Chris, it finally happened. Dan's not here.
Yeah. This is funny because when you go back to last week's episode, we talked about putting like college football teams in different social cliques in high school. And I feel like this is like that day at high school where like the kid with perfect attendance just doesn't show up and nobody knows why. And then like rumors start going around the school about like what devastating thing happened to that kid. Because why else would they miss, Yeah,
because in high school, it's always like, it goes around really easily. It's like, oh man, like that person's grandmother died. Or like, it's always something like awful. Because you're like, wait, where is that? Whereas like, you might not even be friends with that person, but you're like, he's here every day.
Right.
Like he's at the assembly every single year getting the 110% attendance award every year. Uh-huh. He's got it since kindergarten.
Well, Dan's not getting that brunchy this year because he's like the rest of us, and it happens. Miss a podcast episode every once in a while. I suppose we can let this one slide.
Yeah, we can let it go. But I gotta ask you a question, Chris. You've been a dad for a year and almost a month now. So what is the thing that you were most surprised by being a dad?
Oh man. So there's a lot of answers to that question.
Oh yeah.
I tend to always skew positive with this parenting stuff though. So this is like in a weird way going to be positive. But like sometimes you hear from parents, like the worst thing about being a parent is other kids' parents. It's like other parents are the worst thing about being a parent. And you hear it so much that it's like cliche, but it's really true. Like it is unbelievably true. Because I don't know, like other people's other parents just want to make parenting out to be this like disaster scenario. I understand there are certain circumstances depending on like health and stuff like that where you may be in a bind, but like overall, it's like mini pockets of like a tantrum or like crying amidst humongous pockets of like really awesome, fun time. But the problem is when you talk to other parents, they're only going to tell you about like those disaster scenarios and make it out like it's awful. So that's, I guess that's like the biggest surprise to me was like that cliche was 100% true.
Yeah, that's actually 100% true because, we could both do this whole podcast for an hour about all the things that are terrible, like about all the terrible things or the terrible situations. But like, for the most part, that's like one thing, you know what I mean? Like I went on a rant about diarrhea like a month ago. Like that was one time, but like I could tell a million stories about it. But yeah. And then I feel like when parents get together and I feel like I end up looking around at them more than anything. Like, are you guys okay? Like, is there something else you want to talk about that you're hiding behind this whole kid thing? Because I'm like, guys, like, it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Other parents are hysterical about parenting.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And it's probably because like when you're around other parents, you want to vent because when else are you going to vent? But like, chill a little bit.
Yeah. The thing that has surprised me now that I've almost done this it'll be 3 years here in like a little bit. Yeah, I know. Search is going to be 3. It's pretty wild, right? Is that the terrible twos are real. It's like no one calls them the wonderful twos. You know what I mean? That's one thing.
So that's another cliche that's absolutely true.
100% true. 100% true. And people told me that like some people were like, well, for us, the twos, it didn't really happen, but the threes were terrible. Then it was like, oh no, 4 was terrible. So I was like, maybe Search is chill. Maybe it'll wait till she's closer to kindergarten. Nah. Terrible twos. And it hit me like not long ago. It's like she's almost 3 now, but it hit me like, oh yeah, like nobody calls it the wonderful twos. Nobody. And it is, dude. The tantrums are wild. It is insane. And I posted a funny Instagram story like a couple days ago, and I was kind of nervous about it because I thought like maybe people think I was being mean. I got hit up by like all these friends that I have, some friends that I just, we follow on Instagram. We haven't talked to each other in years. And they were like, oh my God, this is what I'm going through right now. I'm playing this song every time my kid throws a tantrum. And I'm like, okay, all right. I'm not crazy. Yeah. So no one calls it the wonderful too. So that's what has surprised me in these times. But yeah. That's dad talk, and this is dad brunch because we're both dads. And
I guess
Dan's not here, so yeah. It's dad brunch here on the Brunch Breakdown. Welcome, and guys, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking music early on today because Kanye West finally dropped his album Donda, and we'll talk about whatever else everybody else is listening to. Dan's going to drop in for that. The Milk Crate Challenge is making humongous headlines because everyone's trying to do it and falling hard, and one Pittsburgh Steeler did it. So we're going to talk about that as well. This crazy Bishop Sycamore ESPN story, and watermelon pizza. Going to get your thoughts on that as well. But make sure you follow the Brunch Breakdown on all social medias and hit us up on Instagram and Twitter and everything, and listen to the Brunch Breakdown everywhere you can listen to podcasts. All right, but let's get it started. Like we always do, Chris. Brews Day. Get them started, Chris. What you sipping on today, sir?
All right. I am going back to the great state of Wisconsin because, as sad as this sounds, Didi, it's September 1st as we're recording this. This is going to go live on September 2nd. And that means there are less than 3 weeks left of summer, official summer. Okay. And if this is the summer of Wisconsin, I got a lot of beer to drink over these next 3 weeks. Today I have Sprecher Brewing, their Pineapple Express Belgian style triple ale. There's your can. Pretty funky looking can, right? And I had a sip of this before we started. And if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, that's what we're looking at. The minute you crack it open, you can smell a little bit of pineapple. And when you get that, like immediately, I'm like, okay, is this going to be overly sweet, overly pineapple-y because it's like already in the air around me? But it's not. It's just a little bit of hint of pineapple. You get a little bit of like the dryness on the back end, but it's a delight. This is a delightful beer to have during the summer of Wisconsin because, I mean, you like the beers that come with a little bit of, give Didi some guava, maybe throw a little pineapple in there. Those. Oh yeah. The fruity type of flavors, and this one is fitting the bill there. So a good beer for summer. And I don't know if you can get this outside of the Milwaukee area, but if you're listening and you're in the Milwaukee area, go grab yourself some before the summer ends.
Has anyone named a beer after Giannis yet? Because I feel like that's something that you have to get your hands on if that's happened yet.
Well, we are the two sons of Wisconsin. So maybe he and I should collaborate on some type of beer.
Yeah. But you have to find that. I guarantee you someone has. Some brewery has named a beer after Giannis.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably
I just need you to get your hands on that.
All right. I'll tap into my sources up in Wisconsin.
Yeah, you got the inside. All right. Well, this is one of my favorite breweries, and I haven't had it in a really long time because I used to have it on the East Coast all the time. Brooklyn Brewery, which I used to absolutely love back in the day, and they have a Pulp Art Hazy IPA, tropical hops they've got going on, and I haven't tried this yet. I saw it at my favorite store, Total Wines and More, the other day, and I was like, you know what? Gonna do this for the Brunch Breakdown.
I love it.
Good.
I think the first time I tried that brewery was because you introduced it to me like, geez, at this point, probably at least 10 years ago.
Oh, now. Absolutely. It's kind of, dude, it's wild. But yeah, absolutely was that long ago. Because when I lived in Pittsburgh, I just loved it. And but this is their Pulp Art IPA. I'm going to try this out.
Oh, it looks great.
Oh, dude. Look, I mean, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is good. This is really good. Like you taste the tropical flavors in here.
I like it.
Be like, Dan, It's got the notes.
Yeah. What notes is it singing to you, Didi? Tell us about that. You know what? And a tropical beer for anybody on the East Coast right now, you've probably been living under clouds for the last 48 hours. A little tropical beer is definitely needed.
You guys got the tropical storm IPA going on over there.
Yeah. And you know what? Can't and shouldn't complain because of how bad it hit like New Orleans and Mississippi, but it's crazy here today, man. Like everything. We tried to take my daughter to daycare. My wife tried to take her this morning, and like every road to go to the daycare, because we live on top of a hill, it was all flooded. Just kept turning around. Yeah, it's crazy. So it's a good day for a tropical drink.
Yeah, I hear you. Cheers to that. Cheers to that. Big shouts, man.
Happy Brews Day.
Happy Brews Day. But yeah, about this whole thing, like shouts to Bonnaroo, the music festival, who shut down their festival. They shut down their festival because it's in Tennessee. It's like I think it's like 45 minutes like past Nashville or something like that, maybe an hour past Nashville. That's where it is. And it's basically just like in a huge field, like where you have to have a festival in like the middle of some field somewhere. And they had to shut it down because it was just, you're like, we can't have people camping in water. Like everything's flooded. All the grounds are disgusting. Like if you go to Bonnaroo's Instagram, you'll see the pictures and it's just like gross. And there are people mad, of course, because cancel the festival, like basically the week of the festival, they cancel it. And people were mad, but I'm like, did you really want to go to that? Like, and it's just, and I'm happy that festivals are a lot smarter than what we've seen festivals do in the 90s and the early 2000s, where they just let these awful situations go on. And now they're like, you know what? It's not worth it. Let's, if you want a refund here, we'll give you a refund and we'll take the hit. But like, we don't need all these problems.
No, nobody needs to be camping out in a tropical storm that used to be a Category 4 hurricane. I've gone camping in the rain, not a tropical storm. And just camping in a regular rainstorm is one of the worst experiences of my life. So no, nobody needed to be doing that. Shouts to Bonnaroo. That was the right call.
How did you go camping in the rain? Like, how do you not just get your stuff and just say, all right, this wasn't the day?
I think because so is all being in Boy Scouts related to that. And it's like, when you got a trip, that trip is happening. Or if you're going to scout camp, you're at scout camp. Yeah. And it's, not good.
Yeah. I get it now. I get it. Because Boy Scouts, that's like an adventure, right? That's like a thing. I thought it was like you and your dad like camping, and your dad was like, we're not leaving.
No, hopefully I earned like the water survival merit badge that weekend or something when I camped in a downpour. But
the swamp ass badge is what you got. Oh man. All right. Well, everyone be safe out there in the storm. So Chris, let's get random thoughts off our chests. Get us started, man. Let's get it off your chest.
Yeah, this is gonna kind of play off of a lot of the discussion from last week's episode. A thought that didn't come to me until our football brunch episode was over. But then I watched a couple more football games after we recorded that episode and thought, no, this needs to be brought up. Non-football players. And so mainly I'm talking about like all the people on the sideline that are not the athletes need to stop doing like the flying chest bump celebrations with actual football players. Watching coaches try to like jump up in the air and collide with football players is my least favorite thing about watching football games. And like, it's just a matter of time until one of these coaches gets like knocked out for the season because they thought they could do a flying chest bump with like a 250-pound defensive lineman. That's not safe. Not to mention the fact that most of these coaches do not get more than 6 inches off the ground, which is just embarrassing for them. So like all around from like a public, like a PR perspective for yourself, for your own brand as a coach or a trainer, or GA, any of those people, don't even try to do that. And number two, you might get hurt. So just, we need to stop. We need to stop that. Leave the athletic moves for the athletes and find your own way to celebrate with those players on the sideline in a way that doesn't make me nervous, cringe, or get yourself killed. Okay. That's what I have to share.
That is beautiful. That is a great observation, because I feel like football coaches, because of, I feel like football coaches are a lot smaller than they used to be. And it's not even feel like, I know that they're a lot smaller than they used to be. And they might be more like muscular. They might be able to do more things out there with the players, because that's one of the things you see, like a Sean McVay, for, instance. But like, you can't take that punishment. These guys can't take that punishment. Like, it used to be like 300-pound coaches, a bunch of Andy Reids out there. They can take the punishment. They feel like, doing a little bumping with their linemen or with their linebackers. They can take that punishment. But like, these coaches now, I don't think they want to take that punishment.
Well, coaches are a different size, and also players, as compared to 20 years ago, are like, it's like comparing like the Toon Squad to the Monstars. They're so much bigger now than they used to be, and faster and stronger. Just be safe out there. Be safe out there on the sidelines.
Dude, that is a good one. Well, I got to get this off my chest. There was another one of those Jake Paul celebrity boxing matches where he fought another UFC person, and he won again, because shocking, UFC guys can't box. Okay. Like, Jake Paul, no one's out here saying he's a great boxer. No one's saying that he's somebody who's going to fight an actual boxer. He's fighting UFC guys who people know, and like former UFC champions and all of that. And I can't believe that people are still taking the bait. Like, I can't get it. And I have to applaud him and applaud his team and whoever is behind all of this stuff, because it's so genius. Because there's no one crazier than UFC fans. Maybe wrestling fans, but like UFC fans, right? Dan happens to be both of these, so it's sad he's not here to defend himself. And they think no one in the world is tougher than these guys, and they could take anybody out in the world. But it's like, okay, but when you have to box, you can't use your feet, you can't use your head, you can't do all these things, and you just have to use your hands with gloves on. It's a whole different world. And he's showing that these guys can't do that one thing. And people are like, Jake Paul, go into the octagon. Why? No. Why the hell would you do that? That's not what you do. Yeah. So shouts to Jake Paul and everyone doing this. And I don't know who the next UFC fighter is that he's going to box, because I know he's going to box, and they're going to make so much more money doing it again. I applaud them for this, for somehow just getting everybody riled up for this. Like, this is like the 5th time now. It's insane. So
this is interesting, because like I do not follow boxing. I do not follow UFC or any of that. And I saw that he won, and I had seen like a few teaser clips ahead of the fight. I guess I didn't realize that, one, that guy was a UFC fighter, and two, that they were straight boxing. So that's interesting. And I would imagine the majority of people don't know that and just think it's like really impressive that Jake Paul beat somebody who is established, because that's essentially what I was thinking. So that's interesting. I will say, leading up to it, some of those teasers I watched, like, I forget whoever the dude, the UFC fighter, whatever do you remember his name? What his name is?
Tyron Woodley.
Yeah. There was some interview with the two of them, and they were sitting like right in front of each other. And he was telling Jake Paul how like the culture was going to whip his ass. And I was like, I want that to happen. I don't know anything about these two guys. I know Jake Paul has like millions of followers. I don't follow him. I know very, very little about the Paul brothers and stuff like that. But like, the minute I heard that guy say that, I was like, yes, that's what I want to see. Meanwhile, like, Jake Paul was sitting there with like chains on.
Yeah.
It was the perfect clip. So that's a shame that the result went the other way.
Yeah, it's like everyone's waiting for this moment to happen. And there's gonna be a moment where someone does beat him, because he is not a good boxer. And I'm somebody who follows boxing. I love boxing, and I'm like, he is not a good boxer. But it's like, he can beat these guys that are former UFC champions who do not box. Like, it's like, people don't understand. Like, it's a whole different universe from what they do in UFC. And it's not that these guys aren't trained. It's not like they're amazing athletes or whatever, but like, it's got to be a huge mind fuck whenever it's like, oh, I can't use my feet, I can't use my head, I can't use my elbow. I can't. You can use any part of your body in UFC to knock somebody out or knock somebody down. You pin people, you do submission holds and all this stuff. Like, you can't do that in boxing.
Yeah. And like, if you're a UFC fighter who like trains like jujitsu and stuff like that, like you're focusing on so many different skill sets. And then like boxing is probably a little bit more limited of a skill set, but like very technique driven. And like, if you're not like technique is so important in whatever you do. So yeah, that's kind of not, that's setting you up for failure is what it's doing.
It is. And people just keep on buying it. And I'm just like, wild. But yeah. All right. Well, let's get into switching it up today, what we're listening to. Do this first. Let's get to what Dan has to say, what he is listening to this week here on the Brunch Breakdown.
All right. I'm going to go into my producer mode here. Let's hear from Dan.
Please. Sorry that I wasn't able to be there with you there this week. The attendance record had to come to an end at some point. So thanks for holding down the fort at the table. Excited to be back with you guys next week. But I couldn't go a week without sharing what I'm listening to because it was an absolutely incredible week in music. I know you guys have either already or about to jump into Donda and talk all things Kanye. And I'm bummed that I'm missing that conversation because that is just a very long but very incredible album. I'm sure, Didi, you're going to go into great detail about it. We could put the whole playlist is Donda this week, and I'd be okay with it. It was perfect that it came out on a Sunday. That was Sunday music for me. And it's just some of the best Kanye we've heard in a long, long time. And it's super exciting. Again, very long, but super exciting for that. But I'm not going to go there. Let you guys handle that. Some music that I'm listening to this week. It was another exciting week in music in terms of album releases. And for me, especially with one of my favorites of all time, Churches. Yes, they released their 4th studio album last week called Screen Violence. It's another incredible collection of songs from Glasgow's absolute finest. I've featured some of their early released singles on the playlist over the summer. But I'm going to put a new song on the playlist this week called California. And I encourage everybody to check out the album Screen Violence from Churches. Second one up for me comes from Kim Petras. Songs called Future Starts Now. It's just an incredible electro pop dance track. It really is. You can't sit still when you hear this song. It's the first single off of her upcoming album, first on a major label. And she's had really a fast rise to stardom, right? We've featured her before, talked about her before, and more songs like this are only going to make that rise go faster and even higher. So really excited to hear more from Kim Petras in the upcoming months. Next song that I'm going to feature this week is from my girl Blue to Tiger. Yeah, you probably recognize that name. She was featured on the soundtrack of He's All That. New on Netflix is He's All That, and she was featured on the soundtrack. It's actually a really great soundtrack. I encourage people to check the whole thing out. But Blue to Tiger featured on that. Her song called Go Bad. It's short, very short, quite a little opposite of Donda going on for you here to bounce a little here. But it's super catchy track. It's more pop focused than most of her other work that we've heard in the past, and a little less emphasis on that bass guitar, which is typically her go-to instrument when she starts writing all of her songs, but still really, really great song called Go Bad from Blue to Tiger. And I got a bonus track for you here this week, Josiah and Travis Barker. That's right. Our resident soundtrack playlist man of the entire year, Travis Barker, back again. He teams up with Josiah for a song called Right Now. Not the best song to listen to with kids in the car. And a warning for both of you and any of our other listeners out there that are parents. But it's an incredible pop punk hip hop mashup with Travis Barker at the helm once again. This style becoming far more popular, and really deservedly so. How a bunch of these artists are kind of coming together and coming up with this really unique and great sound. But not all credit to Travis on this. Josiah, a man himself, is becoming known for these genre mashup tracks and things like that. So even though he's a little bit more in that hip hop category, he actually doesn't even like to be called a rapper. He prefers to be called a vocalist. And tracks like these, I hope shine him into the spotlight a little bit more. That song called Right Now. So I'll get all those on the Sounds of Brunch this week, in addition to all the tracks you guys are about to run down. I'll be back at the table next week. Plus, we'll feature the return of the live taste test, with something I've been trying to get my hands on for a long time. Was finally able to do so. So until then, happy brunching. Talk to you guys next week.
Whoa.
What a tease. What a tease.
Wow.
We need to, I think, start giving serious consideration to Artist of the Year being Travis Barker.
Dude, I don't know if anyone's been on the playlist more than Travis Barker. Let's be honest here.
Right.
Like,
we would kind of be hypocrites at this point if one of us doesn't give him a brunchie for Artist of the Year.
He has to get like a lifetime achievement brunchie or something. Like, it's like Travis Barker is like running around with all these people. It's wild.
Yeah, he's
like,
in every genre.
Dude, shouts to him, man. Like, he's just like, hey, like, with Blink's shut down for the moment, let's just do everything.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, well, like Dan said a couple of times, Donda dropped, and it is long. Yes, it is absolutely long. As Chris said in text message, you didn't tell me that Donda's 47 songs long. It's 27 songs long, and 4 of the songs aren't even remixes. They're just extended versions. It's like people called Kanye and said, hey, can I get on this song? And he just said, yeah, and called it part 2 and put it on the album. Like, literally, the last 4 songs are like, one of them's 10 minutes. 10 minutes. But it's the same. It's like the first half of the song that's on the regular part of the album. And then the part 2 it's a lot. But it's a lot. It's a lot. And I hate to be the old man who says, I hate to say that, like, that I wish things were like they were back in the day, but like, I do wish that like artists had to like fit music onto like a CD that just had 70 minutes of music on it. And that's what you got. Like, you can only go as long as the CD goes. You can't, but now you can go an infinite amount of songs. Like, Drake's dropping his album on Friday. It might have 60 songs on it. I have no idea. It might. You have no idea, because you can just do that. I really wish you could just be like, this is how long my CD is. This is all I can do. But I really like Donda. I think it's great. I think it's the best Kanye album since 2016, which is interesting because that was when we were doing the Brunch Breakdown the first time. Yeah. The Life of Pablo was out, and it's my favorite Kanye album in a long time. And I really like it. What are your thoughts on what you have listened to, Chris? Because I'm sure you didn't get through the whole album, and I can't blame you for it.
I didn't. I gave it an honest effort. I will tell you that much. It is very long. I will get through it. The thing about it is, like, when you put out an album that long, you have to do it like with the understanding of it's going to take people weeks, if not months, to digest everything that you put out there. I will say I went into this album release a little bit biased and a little bit expecting to not like it. I'll be honest with you, because of how much weirdness led up to it coming out. It's like when you push it back and push it back and push it back, and like you're doing all this stuff in like stadiums and crap. Like, at a certain point, when you do enough of that, you're essentially hanging yourself out to dry, where it's like, this better be incredible for making people wait that long, or else there's going to be a lot of people who just get to the point of like over it. So I went into it expecting to be disappointed. And I will admit, from what I've listened to so far, I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I have enjoyed it quite a bit. I will say, like, listening to the album, because he did a number of live listening events before he released it, right?
Yeah.
I think this album, while good, is going to be so much better live. Like, I feel like this music was made for live performances. And so, like, listening to it with my AirPods is probably not giving these songs and this music justice for how good it actually is. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it so far. I'm excited to spend the next month listening to it and get back to you guys with more. But I'm happy that my initial impressions were wrong.
Dude, I'm so happy you said that about how this album's gonna play live, because when Jail starts, I'm just like, that's the beginning of a concert right there.
Yeah.
Like just the way that comes in, it's like I get chills thinking of like what that's gonna like just play out like live when everybody is just there wanting to see it. And then yeah, like this album plays like this is meant to be played in a stadium. There's just so many sounds that are just gonna work in a stadium, and just chants and different things in the album. And I can't wait to see it live. But like I went into this album really not, I don't know what I expected, to be honest. Like I was just like, listen, Kanye's been around for 20 years. Like at some point, you know, you're like, it's not like Kanye is, because, you know, like I mentioned earlier, Drake's going to drop on Friday. Drake is one of the biggest pop artists in the world currently. It's like Kanye's time doing that was way back, and he's not really making music to be on the radio anyway. So at some point, artists just, you know, they just are legends and they put out albums and whatever. But like this surprised me. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. And I'm not one of these people who are like jumping out, oh, it's a classic, it's the greatest album I ever heard, or it's the worst thing ever. It's like, no, like Kanye gave us a good album, and like that's all you can ask for. And it's a lot of fun. And one of my favorite songs on the album, Jail, is amazing. And I've been, since the first listening session, I've been like waiting to get this on. This is why I've been so frustrated with Kanye, is because I've been waiting to get this. Like, I need that for my life. Like I was like listening to like a rip off of Twitter of that song for like a month now. And it's like, I'm finally happy I have it. So I'm happy I have Jail. I'm happy I have freaking Hurricane with The Weeknd saying 80 degrees. It's amazing. Like every time, like it's 80 degrees is no longer 80 degrees. It's 80 degrees. I love it. But yeah, no, I really like the project. I just, you know, the only problem is it's like, I think I've listened to the whole thing once, and then like every time I'll get the song 5, then it's like, I got to listen to it a different way. It's like, you can't listen to this all at one time. I got kids. I can't, like,
I got shit to do.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna listen to this album the way I listen to a podcast. Like, I'll slowly get through it throughout the week.
Yeah, or you got to put it on like 1.5 times speed. It's like, those are the two options.
Okay, we have to listen to this album 1.5 times speed before the end of the month, and I'll review it in that way.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's so like you're a big Kanye fan. And so I was interested to hear your thoughts on this. Like, as I was listening to it, I was like, okay, I wonder what Didi thinks. And it's interesting because like you mentioned Life of Pablo, and like that I feel like with Kanye, I go through this off and on, like hot, cold, where the release is, I either love it or I hate it. And we go through periods of like, love it, hate it, love it, hate it, love it, hate it. And I'm right there with you. This is my favorite since that album that he released. And, yeah, I'm happy for him too, that it's good. I'm happy that it's good for Kanye's sake. Not that Kanye needs or cares about anybody's thoughts.
Yeah, that's true too.
But, you know, as he was standing over all the fans at that Atlanta Falcons game a couple weeks ago, he must have been thinking, all these people are really going to enjoy this album. And turns out he's probably right. So good for you, Kanye.
Yes, good for you, Kanye. And I am going to put on the playlist, like I said, for what we're listening to, and now we'll get into regular what we're listening to. I'm going to first put on Off the Grid. I love Off the Grid. I think that's a song, as football season starts, you're going to hear that song a lot. I feel like there's going to be a lot of Off the Grid playing during college football season. I can or NFL season, I can feel it. So gonna put Off the Grid on the playlist first. What else are you listening to, Chris?
Didi, let's go back.
Okay,
let's go back in time.
Let's
go back in time to right around the probably the time when Kanye broke on the scene. Last week, I talked about a couple songs that were 10 years old. Here's a song that's 20 years old, and I think it still holds up. And I'm talking about Hit 'Em Up Style by Blue Cantrell. Who's ready to listen to that this week? Because that song is 20 years old and we're putting it on the playlist.
Dude,
Didi did not see that coming.
I'm already okay. So this is one of the things, like we grew up in a time music videos are still important, but they were a lot more important. I'm playing the video of that song in my head right now. Like that doesn't happen with songs now. It's like I'm literally playing the video in my head of that song. Wow. Hey ladies, man, that's a good one. I don't even know why that song. Why? Is there any reason?
No, it's just I saw it on a list of songs like this past week that turned 20 years old. I don't know how I got on this. Like, see, this is a problem with social media. It's like you engage with one certain piece or type of content, and then you are going to get shit kicked with that same type of content for the next 2 weeks to see if you interact with it more. Well, guess what? Chris has been interacting with that content. And now I'm getting all of these updates about like this song turned X amount of years old. And Blue Cantrell just fell back into my life.
Well, I'm happy about that because I love that song. So, all right. Another song off Donda, putting on the playlist. Believe What I Say. It samples Lauryn Hill's Doo-Wop, that thing. And if there's a radio hit that comes off this album, it's going to be that song. And I wish it would have came out in like May because needed to come out before fall. But yeah, maybe we'll be outside more in the fall than we were in the summer. I have no idea. But Believe What I Say is just a jam.
I like it. Here's a song that's not 20 years old. It's about 20 days old, probably not even. State Champs released a brand new song called Just Sound. And I really like it because it kind of calls back to some of the sound and the energy that State Champs had much earlier on when they kind of first broke into the pop punk scene. It's one of my, I don't know, like it's important for bands to evolve and their sound to evolve. But one thing that tends to happen with pop punk bands once they burst on the scene is that their next releases get so uber poppy because they get that, I think, groundswell of support and enthusiasm. And then it's like, we need to find a radio hit, you know? And I hope this is a sign of things to come because this one just brings a lot more energy back. It's something that if I was at a State Champs show, I would be going crazy to. So I'm going to put Just Sound on the playlist this week. I really enjoy it.
Nice. I like State Champs. I like State Champs a lot. So big shouts to them for sure. Next one off Donda, because yeah, it's all Donda for me this week, guys. Sorry, it's all Donda for me. Lord, I Need You. It is song 23. So maybe you haven't
made it there yet.
You haven't got there yet? I'm not mad at you. Even if you started listening to the song on Sunday morning and you haven't got there yet, I'm not mad at you. It's okay. You'll get there. Maybe by Saturday you'll get there. I have no idea. But Lord, I Need You. It is basically it's interesting. I don't know what's going on with Kanye and Kim. I know they've filed for divorce. I don't know if they're officially divorced. I know she was at all the listening sessions, but this song is to her. And it is just a really great love song. And Kanye singing through most of it. And one of the things that I love about this album is when Kanye sings, not raps, sings, he's done it a lot with auto-tune basically over the last like 10 years. And this reminds me of like him using his singing voice like he does in like the first couple albums, which isn't like it's some great voice, but it's this like vulnerable thing that he does. And it's really effective the way that he does it. And it's like, when he uses his voice to sing, it's like very effective when it's not an auto-tune. Not that I don't hate it when it's an auto-tune. It's just that like, this makes it feel like you actually mean like you need her. Like you want her back. And that's what that song feels like. So Lord, I Need You, Kanye. Done.
Nice. I can't wait till I get there.
Yes. When you get there, you're going to be like, wow, this is a great song. You're going to go grab Katie. You're going to dance in the living room.
I mean, so I mostly listen to music when I'm training, and my training sessions are like an hour and a half. So I still haven't gotten there yet, but I'll be there maybe tomorrow. We'll see.
All right. Well, you're going to listen to that song. You're going to start making out with your weights or something. I don't know.
Perfect. That'll set the mood for the session. That's perfect. Here's another one that is brand new. Less Than Jake, one of my favorite ska bands of all time, put out a new song called Need Some Shaking. And it's just got everything you'd want from Less Than Jake. They have an awesome kind of back and forth with their lead vocalists, where you have some of like the grittier sound, and then like Roger, the bass player, comes in with just a really melodic voice. So the vocals are great, and the horn line ties the song together. It's very, very catchy. And I think it's important that we continue to promote ska music. So Less Than Jake, Need Some Shaking, put it on the playlist because it's right up there with Donda. I mean, if we're being honest in terms of relevance this week,
let's go.
Throw it on.
All right. My last one. I already mentioned Jail. That's going on the playlist already. But so I'm going to go with there's a song called Junior on this album, and it's Kanye shouting out a designer, because of course Kanye shouts out a designer of this song, Junior Watanabe. I literally had to Google it. I was like, who? What am I saying? The song jams, right? And you will be saying Junior Watanabe a bunch, like, because that is the song. But like, you have no idea who this person is. Whatever. He's a designer somewhere, and the song jams. So Junior Watanabe, and I was in my car picking my daughter up from preschool, and I was like, Junior Watanabe, you're my Rick. And she started saying Rick, and I was like, we're jamming. This is beautiful. This is a beautiful thing. So yeah.
Hey, good for Junior Watanabe, because the brand recognition just went through the roof.
Seriously, big time. So is that what you got for what we're listening to?
That's what I got.
Love it. Make sure you check out the playlist on Spotify. Dan will have that thing up before the weekend for sure. All right. Well, let's get into our next topic, the Milk Crate Challenge.
Yeah.
Chris, first, would you do the Milk Crate Challenge? Let's go back. Not at 35. I'm talking about at 21, or maybe around that range, that high school, college, in 20s range. Would you have done the Milk Crate Challenge? Because that's the ages that are doing it, and I want to know, would you have done this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Certainly not now, because parents should not be doing this. PSA, don't do it if you have kids. I don't, part of me thinks, yeah, I would, because when you're in college, like, you have a few beers and you do stupid stuff. But then, like, as you were asking that question, I think back in like most of the really dumb stuff that I witnessed in college was like, I was at a party and one of my friends was an idiot, So like, I was part of the group of idiots, but I wasn't like the king idiot. So maybe I wouldn't have, but I know that I would have been friends with somebody who would. And that would have been fun to watch. Like, how about you?
I would have full thought about it. Like, I would have thought it through.
Yeah.
And I know I wouldn't have been the first person to do it. Basically, like what you were saying, being the idiot. And I feel like a few of my friends would have done this, but I would have watched them fall. All it takes is watch one person to fall.
Right.
One person. And if you watch any of those videos, dude, the way people are falling is like, how the hell are you getting up? Like, I have no idea. And I'm like, I would have watched one person fall really hard. And I'm like, yeah, nah, I'm good, guys. I'm good. But I would have had all the video out of all the pictures of them falling.
Right.
For sure.
Because that's all you need. Like, nowadays, you don't need to be the person that does it. You need to be the person that can put it online and get, a bunch of followers because your friend's a dumbass. Yeah, I just think, and the problem, you talked about the people falling, like, the problem with this challenge is that, and if you're not familiar with it, is basically people are taking milk crates, stacking them up in a pyramid, and then like you're trying to walk the pyramid all the way up to the top crate. And if you haven't seen it, you could imagine the higher you get, the more those crates start to wobble. And these people only fall from the highest crate. Nobody falls from like crate number 2. Okay. Everybody falls from the very top, or like the next to highest one. Yeah. And then when they land, it's like shoulder dislocation, or like you like jack up your knee, or like bend your elbow backwards. Like, it is absolutely gruesome every single time. That it's just like, hard to watch, but you can't look away from it. It's pretty crazy.
It is. And watching as someone who had back surgery, and there is this one where there's it's a rapper. I don't really know his music, but I know he's a rapper, YK Osiris or YT Osiris, something like that. He did it and falls right on like his back, like right on his like lower back, and then bounces up. And I'm like, I know you're hurting. Like, I know you're hurting. I know you couldn't just lay on the ground forever. I know you're young, but man, oh man, like, no way. Like, it's crazy. But Juju Smith-Schuster did this for the Steelers. What is I'll go into radio mode. What's everybody saying around town? When you're walking around town, what's everybody saying about Juju doing the milk crate challenge?
Yeah, what's your thoughts? Dial in 555-930 blah, blah, blah. Yeah. What you said, you asked, what is everybody talking about around town?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. All I know is that like a Pittsburgh Steeler did the milk crate challenge. And of course it was Juju, and the Pittsburgh sports media is like very old and curmudgeon-y and hates fun. So they all hated it, but they were going to hate anything Juju did on social media. I have over the years as a sports fan, and I won't make this a Pittsburgh thing. I have over the years as a sports fan learned that the best thing you can do if you want to enjoy sports is don't worry about what these athletes do in their personal lives and just watch the sport. Like, you don't have to be a fan of Juju Smith-Schuster and where he eats lunch. You know, like that doesn't have to be part of your fandom as a Steeler fan or whoever you root for. So I don't really care. To be honest with you, with Juju doing it, I thought it was hilarious because I knew everybody was going to hate it. So I was like, you go, Juju, you do it. You do it every game week. I don't care. I think it's hilarious. But yeah, a lot of people seem to be pretty worked up over it from what I can gather.
Dude, I thought it was hilarious because like, I'm not going to say the person's name, but I saw this person say something about it. And I was like, oh man, I got to go find this now because this is perfect, right? It's Juju. Like, just like what you said, knowing that Juju is the one that did it, it's incredible. Right. Yeah. And all I saw when I watched, I was like, that is the safest milk crate challenge I have ever seen. He has two big bodyguards on the left and the right side of him to make sure that if he starts teetering, they're grabbing the money. like those two dudes are making sure that they are right there to make sure that he does not fall. Like, I thought that was hilarious because every milk crate challenge does not look like that. There are not two dudes that are like 250 plus, over 6 feet tall on your sides, making sure that the money doesn't fall down. And I thought that was hilarious. So everyone's making such a big deal about it. And I'm like, that was the safest milk crate challenge I've ever seen.
Yeah, and that's important to say. Most milk crate challenges don't have bouncers at it, but Juju had them. And it's also important to point out that he did it successfully and did not fall.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. That's very important. We should cut that out and like mention everybody on social media that had a problem with it. And with your quote, like, this was the safest milk crate challenge of all time.
This was like a milk crate challenge that they'll do like if an elementary school decides they're gonna like do the milk crate challenge, you know, and they'll have like 2 like milk crates up or whatever, and there'll be like 5 teachers around to make sure that the kid doesn't slip. That's what this was.
Yeah. The only thing he could have done to make it safer is put like air mattresses next to the milk crates.
Yeah, or done it in like an inflatable like pit or whatever. Like that's the only way that could have been any safer than that. Like, people are just mad all the time. Well, sticking with football talk, let's talk about the most bizarre story that I've ever seen. ESPN had a high school football game on. That's not bizarre. That's normal. They put these big high school football teams that have all these, big recruits on them. IMG Academy is one of them. And they played a school in Ohio called Bishop Sycamore. And that's not crazy. Bishop Sycamore is a school. Why not play them? This is a school that said they had all these D1 recruits, and then it comes out that they don't. And also, people are trying to find out if it's actually a school. and the coach has the coach is wanted for it has warrants out for his arrest.
Yeah.
And these people were on national television on ESPN, and none of it, dude, I still talking about this. I can't believe that it wasn't the plot of some high school reality, some high school show on Netflix or something about a football team. I can't get over this. What did you think when you saw this?
So the way I first heard about this was people were tweeting the ESPN broadcast crew. It was a clip from during the game, and the play-by-play guy was like, this team, Bishop Sycamore, was already getting beat by 5 touchdowns, and it was the beginning of the second quarter. And the play-by-play guy was saying we can't really verify anything that Bishop Sycamore told us. They said they had 5-star recruits and guys with offers to other colleges, but we can't verify any of that. And how does a high school team get on national TV on ESPN playing, like you said? Understand, most people that listen to this show are not football fans that understand the high school powerhouses. Probably IMG Academy is a high school that was designed for athletes to go to. Yeah. Okay. It's an athlete high school. IMG is like a sports production company. This is their high school. So the fact that this IMG Academy, who's a powerhouse every year, played a team that we can't verify, and we don't even know if they exist. And if you look them up, their address goes to a business complex in Columbus, Ohio. There's not even a high school. How does that happen? I don't understand how that can happen. What's the vetting process? I don't understand how that's possible, but it happened, and there's going to be a documentary about it one day. But I can't figure this out.
Dude, I need a movie made. I need a documentary made. I need everything. I need the real story. I need the fake exaggerated story. I need all of it. I need everything to happen. I want a Law and Order episode based on this whole thing. I need everything, because I just don't understand how in 2021, when I can literally Chris, if you tell me that Olivia is the #1 volleyball player in the country, I can look that up in 2 seconds. I can find out if your daughter is that. It doesn't it's so many age levels. This stuff starts 7th grade. You can find out who the best basketball and football players are when they're in middle school.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how this could possibly happen on ESPN, who has their own recruiting thing.
Right.
They have their own rankings. So when they're talking about these kids, it's the ESPN says they've got this kid ranked in the top 10 of theirs, and then Rivals has them in the top 20 of theirs. I don't understand how this happened. And ESPN's really quiet about this.
Right.
And I'm how? Whose son did you let in charge of this? And they really screwed it up. Who's I don't know who runs ESPN, but his son was, you're all right, listen, this is your job. You're going to do this. And he's completely unqualified for that job. And this is what happened.
But on top of everything, this in quotes, high school, there are players on that team that are in their 20s.
Yeah.
And they were playing at junior colleges, which is, I don't know if you understand the title, a college. They're playing in a high school football game. And also, we didn't mention this wrinkle to the story. That game was on a Sunday. They played 2 days earlier against Stowe Rocks, which is down the street from me. They played this fake high school with players who are college age, and their coach is a felon. They played 2 games in 48 hours. How does that happen? It's unbelievable. And so during the game, these kids that were JUCO players are getting their dicks kicked in by high school players. Yeah. And they're getting injured. These kids were getting hurt because they played 2 games in 48 hours. Some kids didn't have, uniforms. And so like, it's just like the 2 days before this ESPN game happened, they played a team in Pittsburgh who their home colors are all black. Well, Bishop Sycamore only has one uniform, which is also all black. So the two teams that were playing each other were both wearing all black uniforms. Like, the more you dig into every detail of this story, the more ridiculous it gets. And I can't, like you said, I cannot fathom how the worldwide leader put this game on TV and didn't vet it at all to say, like you said, they have a recruiting department. So if this school says like, yeah, our guys have offers from these schools, at the very least, they should be able to say like, yeah, we can confirm those offers before you show up and set cameras up and broadcast it on national television. I can't, this is brunchy for like story of the year. This has to be there.
I mean, mark it down. Like right now it is, I don't know if there's any story that's better than this. Like, this is as good as it gets. Like we're just the top. I mean, we're not even there. This story is going to go on. We're going to be finding out more about this story in the next month, in the next couple months. Like, because once these players, like, people are going to be reaching out to these players. Like, all the, every tabloid, every show, every whatever, they're going to be hitting up these players. Like, hey, like, give me a couple bucks to like talk about whatever the F is going on here. So
here's a question though. How much would you pay for a Bishop Sycamore jersey right now?
Oh my God, I'll take one right now. Right now. I want t-shirts. I will take a hat. I want everything.
I want everything.
All the merch.
I want to frame it and put it in my basement. Dude, I want a jersey so bad.
Did you see people, Cam Newton getting cut, and they put him in a Bishop Sycamore jersey? They'll be starting next week. Dude, I was dying. Like, I love Cam Newton, but I was losing it.
Oh my God. Me too. But hey, at this point, he's eligible.
Why not? Don't have a shot against IMG Academy, like with Cam Newton and starting quarterback.
Story of the year for sure.
Dude, 1000%. And let's get into our last story, Chris. Watermelon pizza from Cam Newton playing for a high school team to watermelon pizza.
Sure.
A TikTok went viral. There's a lot of food on TikTok. A lot of food. Some great to see, as we've put some on here, and some terrible, like the what was it? The spaghetti or whatever, the lasagna on the table, or tacos on the table.
We had a few like countertop foods.
Gross. Not good. Yeah, absolutely disgusting. Well, this one, up for debate, watermelon pizza. And I'm not talking about just like watermelon that you put like pepperoni on top of. Like, literally, you make the whole thing a pizza. So it's like pizza on the top and watermelon. Yeah. I don't even know. Like, this might be good, but also it might, I don't know. It's just a weird feeling because watermelon's cold. It's supposed to be cold. What's hot watermelon taste like?
Yeah, so that's part of the problem. Is that the people put this, like, they take a full watermelon, they slice out the middle of it so they have like the widest part.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, probably like an inch thick, and put the toppings on top of it. When you first sent this over, I thought it was like pineapple pizza is like you put pineapple on a regular pizza. So I thought this was putting watermelon on a regular pizza, but it is in fact the watermelon that is the pizza. And like, if you watch the video, they show, they cut out the watermelon and then they put tomato sauce on the watermelon. And like right there is where I'm not okay with this anymore. And they put the cheese on and the pepperoni, the rest of the toppings, and then they put it in the oven. And take it out and eat it. And like, even at the end of the video, the guy's like, I don't know about this. Like, so this is, I don't even know. Like, Why?
Dude, why? Another reason why we all need to get back to work. There's not enough of us working. That's one thing. Like, some people might be back to work like Dan, but most of us are not, and we need to all get back to work. Because because you can only be stuck at home for so long before you think putting watermelon in the oven sounds like a good idea. Like, what? I'm honest. I don't understand how, and maybe there's something to this. I can't believe watermelon can stay together in the oven.
Right.
Like, I just assume watermelon would, I don't know, just evaporate. It's water.
It doesn't have a lot of like dexterity when it's just normal watermelon. Like it kind of breaks apart pretty easily. So then you apply heat to it. Yeah, I don't see how that works.
I don't either. Yeah, that's something. But yeah, when you said the tomato sauce, and I thought it was the same thing too. I thought someone put like chunks of watermelon or used some like watermelon sauce, and that was watermelon pizza. And I was like, I mean, whatever. No, that's not what this is. So yeah, let us know at Brunch Breakdown. Watermelon pizza, like literal pizza on watermelon, not crust, watermelon.
Like I feel like we've done enough episodes of Brunch Court now to like make it pretty clear that we have thought of just about all of the combinations of food that you could think of. And like with pizza, we weren't like, how do I put this? Scratching the surface of what you can do with pizza happened like 40 years ago. Like we've far surpassed that to the point where like there at any pizza chain are probably like 20 different types of crust you can get, let alone the, toppings and styles. So like, just stop. Like if there was something great to be created at this point with pizza, it would have already been created.
1,000%. And because with pizza, it's like there are places that make pizza better, but it's still pizza with pepperoni and cheese.
Right.
Maybe the cheese is a little different. Maybe the crust is a little different, but it's still pizza. Not saying all pizza's like, not all pizza's good. All pizza's the same. No, it's not the same. That's not what I'm saying. It's just that like, there's just nothing you can really do. It's done.
Right.
We've done it all. So figure something else out. What foods do we need to like do stuff to though?
And maybe that's what our purpose is, DD.
Yeah.
Figure out what foods actually can be combined that we haven't combined, or what foods need to be created that we haven't created yet. Because Brunch Court has just turned into a long list of no's.
It really is. We might have to switch it up next week. Next week we're gonna figure this out.
Yeah.
Which foods need to be spiced up a little bit?
The next Brunch Court, let's review just like a normal cereal, just like not Apple Jacks mixed with like Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like frosted with flakes. Can we just talk about like Honey Nut Cheerios? Your thoughts? Let's
do it. No, Cheerios. That next Brunch Court, we're just talking about Cheerios. Plain Cheerios. That's what we're going to talk about. So I want everybody
we're sick of this. We're not doing it anymore. I don't know where Dan finds all these foods, but this is the end of the rut line. Watermelon pizza. I've had enough. We got to change it up.
It's over. We're done.
Too much.
We're done. But but speaking of pizzas being the same but like slightly different, I did the most like dad at home with the kids thing I've ever done. My Siobhan went out with her friend like it was Tuesday or Monday night. She went out and I was just me with the kids. I ordered pizza. That's what you do. Dad at home, order the pizza. I ordered the shakaroni.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, it is. And dude, there's so much pepperoni. The crust is like, all right, so let's say normal crust this big. The crust on the shakaroni is like this big. The pepperoni goes all the way to the edge. The crust is literally like that much. It's pepperoni all the way to the edge. And you taste the difference, I swear. And no, you don't need it. No one needs that pizza. That pizza should never be, no, it's a limited edition thing. It should not be around for any longer than like however long they keep it. That should not be around forever.
It should be like the McRib, like just a few weeks of the year.
Yes.
Few weeks. Well, remember we talked about early on in the pandemic, like there was a pepperoni shortage and we started thinking like, this is Shaq's fault.
Oh, dude, if you see that pizza, like it was Shaq's fault because there's that much pepperoni does not need to be on a pizza. It just doesn't. It doesn't. But it comes in a great box with Shaq's face on it. Like it was a great experience, but it's an experience that I don't need to have again.
That's fair.
No.
Come on, Shaq. Come on, Shaq.
Well, Chris, any final thoughts? We're out of here on the Brunch Breakdown.
No, nothing groundbreaking other than like, hopefully by next week, I've listened to all of Donda.
Okay. Hopefully. Because hopefully we'll have a Donda exit survey at the end of the month. I'm not going to do that 2 weeks in. Like that's like, no.
Yeah. I can't make any promises, but hopeful.
Love it. Well, this has been the Brunch Breakdown. Make sure you follow us on social media at Brunch Breakdown. And make sure you listen to the playlist on Spotify. That will be heavy on Kanye this week. And pop punk, like always, and Travis Barker.
Yes,
always as
well. Always Travis.
Yes, always Travis. Might just name the playlist.
Sounds of Travis.
Sounds of Travis. Peace.